You have all heard about the God of War game, and it became famous due to its main character, Kratos. But do you know about his stories and place in Greek mythology? Numerous tales of love, bravery, and salvation are told in Greek mythology about the gods, goddesses, heroes, and deities, from Zeus to Heracles. Each one of them is respected and important. Generally, many of the gods were representations of traits and feelings found in people or natural environments like the sky, the sea, or the underworld. Several important gods like Zeus, Ares, and Poseidon are well known. On the other hand, there are a lot of lesser known but fascinating mythological characters as well. One of them is Kratos, a personification of strength, might, power, and sovereignty. However, his description doesn't end here. In Greek mythology, Kratos is a very interesting figure. There are quite conflicting stories regarding him which have been left open for interpretation. Now, here are some questions worth asking. Did Kratos really exist? What was his relationship with Zeus? Was he a god himself, or just a mere soldier? To get to the bottom of everything, you'll need to stay with us until the end of the video. And since we are unlocking new mysteries every week, why not hit the subscribe button too and stay tuned. Whenever Kratos is under discussion, many questions pop into one's mind automatically. But his mystery has been unlocked. Kratos, one of the 4 children of Pallas and Styx, was a representation of pure power to ancient Greeks. Pallas was a Titan and Styx was the oldest Oceanid. Both of his sisters and his brother exemplified the same qualities. Zeus was the embodiment of zeal, aspiration, emulation, and glory. On the other hand, Nike was another name for victory, and Bia of might and force. Sounds like the whole family was bestowed with strength and might. According to legend, Zeus was getting ready for the Titanomachy. The Titans and Olympians were to be engaged in a 10-year series of conflicts. In doing so, Zeus made promises of heavenly office and suitable rights to anyone who found beside him in an effort to gather as many supporters as possible. As he was the ultimate deity, this offer was seen as a huge advantage in one's favor by many. Nevertheless, upon hearing this, Styx chose to accept Zeus's proposal and brought her 4 kids along. As a result, the 4 offspring of Styx would dwell with Zeus eternally, as he had promised. Therefore, Kratos and his brothers have nowhere else to live but with Zeus. They are components of his character. The tale states that Kratos and his siblings were Zeus's acrobatic warriors. They served as an extension of his will and assisted in carrying it out. They stood behind his throne and served as its constant companions. Naturally, they lived in Zeus's mansion at the peak of Mount Olympus. Another well-known narrative is the one relating to the story of Prometheus. According to one common myth, Prometheus stole fire from the gods. This brought together the wrath of all deities, and Zeus decided to punish him. By the order of Zeus, Kratos and his sister Bia have Prometheus tied to a rock for all eternity, where he will be imprisoned and tortured. This tale also exhibits the violent and cold nature of Kratos. When he commanded the god of fire, Hephaestus, to help him chain Prometheus up, he was quite hesitant. However, upon seeing Kratos' wrath, he knew he had to do what he was told. He kept on persuading him to inflict as much pain as possible. Kratos held no mercy for the transgressors and obeyed the commands of Zeus under all circumstances. Not to forget, another less popular opinion claims Kratos to be a demigod. This perspective states that Kratos is the son of Zeus, whom he had with a secretive mortal woman. This figure in Greek mythology is surely intriguing, confusing, and a victim of many conspiracies. Regardless of where he came from, Kratos does not appear in many Greek tales. This is primarily due to the fact that he was not thought of as a powerful deity, but rather as a god servant who was usually invoked with one of his siblings. He was popular for his force and strength and was not just associated with combat, but also with violence. He is one of the several Greek gods that figure in the myths more as a concept than as a person. Therefore, it doesn't happen very often to have his name mentioned without his persona ever making an appearance. Greek mythology is prominently featured in the original God of War trilogy, from the destructive character of the gods to their complicated afterlife. The character of Kratos and his conflict with the gods, notably his father Zeus, was totally created for this franchise. As most people are aware, the game does take certain risks in crafting its own tale set inside Greek mythology. Here is a Kratos in Greek mythology, and then there is a Kratos in God of War, although they both aren't similarly explained, but do share some common traits. However, the story of Kratos does not end here. The ruthless barbarian tribes of the East were a hard match for Kratos and his Spartan army. Kratos' army was losing the conflict due to being outnumbered and outmatched. Kratos, who was about to be murdered by Ulrich, the barbarian king, made a promise to Ares, the god of war. The promise was made in exchange for victory. After spotting Kratos as the warrior he needed to conquer Olympus, Ares finally agreed. He killed all the savages and then handed Kratos the Blades of Chaos as a token of his submission. Ares created 3 blood tests for Kratos in order to make sure that the Spartans developed into the ideal warrior and was subject to his will. Spilling the blood of opponents had already been finished for the first. The second was killing innocent people. This task didn't appear to be that difficult for Kratos due to his growing bloodlust. The last ritual involved shedding loved ones' blood. In order to fulfill this, Ares took Kratos to a village. The village oracle urged Kratos not to enter the odd temple once they arrived there. Kratos, who was blinded by bloodlust and disregarded the elderly lady, slaughtered everyone who was inside the temple's walls, including his own wife and daughter. Kratos' blood-stained hands were met by Ares, who informed him that nothing could stand in his way unless his family was killed. The god of war who had previously saved his life, Kratos vowed revenge on Ares after discovering his deceit. This led to the birth of a new twist in Greek mythology. Eventually, Kratos' rage didn't let him settle down, and he took revenge for his family's death by executing Ares from his own hands. A battle between an old and new god was formulated this way. The question relating to the existence of Kratos and his status as a god does not reach a definite conclusion. Different conspiracies have different tales to tell. This makes it more interesting as it is left for further research and discussion. Who knows what the next conspiracy may have to tell? Did you find it interesting? We unlock new mysteries and conspiracy theories every week, and you really need to subscribe to us to enlighten yourself more.